Whether you watched the State of the Union last night or like a smart person, you just didn't, and you did your laundry. There were 3 things that you weren't supposed to notice last night. 3 big things that you really do need to know, and most people aren't talking about these things, so we're going to talk about them here. We're going to talk about why was Biden late in the first place, and if you're like, was it due to some crazy deranged leftist? The answer is yes. Yes, it was. 2, why were a whole bunch of government websites knocked offline right at the time of the speech? Was it a cyber attack meant to humiliate President Biden? Or was it that a whole bunch of websites where people could actually fact check the facts that he was stating suddenly went offline and were just inaccessible? A lot to talk about there. And then Steve Nakuyi, who was screaming from the balcony. If you were watching the State of the Union, like unfortunately I was, you may have heard his shouting. You didn't hear what it said. You don't know the story behind that. We're going to talk about what happened there. And of course, for good measure, we're going to throw in a couple other little things, like talking about, Marjorie. We'll talk about Marjorie and some of that interchange that happened between her and President Biden and some of the crazy deranged stuff that President Biden said in response to that. And it was noticeably off script. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and we're going to unpack the State of the Union. We're going to unpack the crazy moments of it. We're not going to talk about the boring stuff like when he was shouting at us and berating us and, basically being un-American all the way around. And we're not going to dig into the facts, and we're not going to fact check everything that he said, because that would just take several hours, and really in the end, if you already understand what's going on in the world, you knew how much of that was lies as it was. Let's talk about the hack that nobody's talking about. Now, there's really 2 ways that this happened. One was that President Biden and his administration purposely took down the Department of Homeland Security's website with all their stats and figures and everything like that. All the FBI stats offline. FEMA, all their stats were offline and unavailable during his speech. ICE, with their immigration, that was all offline, couldn't get into that. And the Secret Service was offline for some reason too. But not only that, but Truth Social also went down. Now, these aren't necessarily interrelated. Truth Social could have been overwhelmed by just everybody going over to Truth Social finally to see what Donald Trump had to say about the speech, which is quite possible. Or there's a more nefarious option there, and that is that the administration didn't want anyone fact-checking any of the figures, any of the stats, any of the stupid stuff that he had to say. So they just kind of had an accident where all those websites just happened to be offline during that period, so no one could fact check them immediately. There's that possibility, and then Truth Social was taken down in order to keep anyone from actually interacting with Donald Trump to see what his fact checking of the president was. So there's that option where it was nefarious and the government was behind it. The other option is that some foreign entity or someone decided to hack all these security-related, Homeland Security-related organizations, businesses, departments. So which departments? FEMA, emergencies, right? ICE, which is immigration and enforcement. Secret Service, and Homeland Security, which includes FBI and all that. Their websites completely offline. It took them about 30 minutes to get the websites back online. They said that they fixed the issue, but they did not say what the issue was in the first place. Well, that is interesting, isn't it, folks? I'm just going to lay that out there to you guys. What do you think it was? Was it a hack meant to embarrass President Biden? Or was it the Biden administration taking down all the stats and figures so that nobody could fact check them? Interesting either way. Let's go on to Steve Nakuyi. He is the man who stood up and started shouting at President Biden during the speech. And first off, what's the phrase that triggered him? The phrase in President Biden's speech was, "America is safer today than when I took office." At which point, the father of Kareem Nakuyi could not contain himself anymore, and he began shouting, Abbey Gate, which was the one of the gates at the Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, where they're flying people out of, where American soldiers and Marines were killed. due to a car bomb. They knew that there was an attack being planned. The U.S. military tried to get authorization from the Biden administration to do an airstrike on a hotel where it was being planned and where they were preparing the vehicle that would go to the airport to attack the civilians as well as the soldiers. That airstrike was denied, and more civilians actually died as a result of them not doing the airstrike than would have been killed by them doing the airstrike. So he screams out, Abbey Gate, 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines. Speaking of the soldiers that were killed during the Afghanistan withdrawal, which was Biden's doing. And so that was what that whole screaming exchange was. He was escorted out and arrested once he was out. It's a misdemeanor charge, which if you interrupt the proceedings of Congress, like screaming out during a speech or something like that, it is a misdemeanor. You pay $50 and it's a protest kind of thing, so it's not like a felony or anything like that. Unlike if you were part of another protest that happened there, and we're going to see that this is typical here, is that when conservatives protest, they get books thrown at them. When liberals protest, they get treated with soft kitty gloves. But anyway, so that's what that was about. Steve Nakuyi, father of Kareem Nakuyi, who was killed in Afghanistan. Speaking of outbursts, let's cover that. Marjorie Taylor Greene was on a mission last night to get President Biden to, quote, say her name. Laken Riley, a nursing student, was killed. She was brutally assaulted, and then her skull was crushed due to an illegal alien that killed her. And he shouldn't have been in the country in the first place. He had violent crimes in the past. He should have been in jail but he shouldn't even been in the country in the first place. And so she screamed out during the middle of the speech, say her name. And President Biden actually tried to. Instead of Laken Riley, he called her Lincoln Riley, which is terrible. If you're going to honor or if you're even going to recognize someone who was killed due to your choices and your decisions, you should take responsibility for that and at least not butcher their name. But then in addition to that, he said some interesting things right after that. He said that she was killed by an illegal, which has like the left, running around like the house is on fire, like he should have said illegal, nobody's illegal. He said by an illegal, but then he immediately started trying to minimize. What about the thousands of people who are killed by legals? Which, not sure how, so that people who are legally here are killing people doesn't make people who are illegally here killing people. I don't know. Maybe President Biden's saying it's okay for people to kill people. That's part of the Democratic Party platform nowadays. They're rewriting the Democratic Party platform to be for freeloaders, perverts, criminals, and idiots. And so, if you don't fit into one of those categories, you probably shouldn't vote for them. But in this case, we're talking about criminals, double over, those who are murderers and those who are crossing the border illegally. That's that group that they're trying to, go for, I guess. So that's what happened in that back and forth. It was cringe in the extreme, of course. But the moment you've all been waiting for, folks, we'll get into that right now, which is, why was Biden late in the first place? And like I said, it was crazy, delusional, deranged leftists, which is just like President Biden. If you saw the speech at all, or you saw any clips of it, and you're like, why is he shouting all the time? Why is he so angry? And, well, that's basically what he did, pretty much the whole thing. He did a couple creepy whispers here and there, but mostly it was just him shouting and being angry at everybody. And lying and trying to goad, saying that the Republicans are trying to defund Social Security. He said at one point that they were trying to cut $1 trillion from Social Security, which, where did he get? That wasn't on his script, so we know it was probably just made up stuff. Anyway, so what happened was hundreds of anti-Israeli protesters you know, AOC kind of cut. So they were out there waving Palestinian flags and blocking roads. They were trying to block the president from getting from the White House over to the, you know, to the Capitol building. That was their job. They were trying to block all the roads. They didn't have any super glue on them, so they didn't actually glue themselves to anything. But they did sit down on the roads. They sat down on Pennsylvania Avenue at 2 different intersections, and then they were also blocking another road. Were there any arrests for people who don't have a protest license, who are blocking roads intentionally? No, there were no arrests, because conservatives, when they protest, if they don't have a license, if they don't have a permit, they get arrested. They get shut down. There are charges, of course. When liberals protest, there are never any charges, regardless of whether they have a permit or not. Did these people have a permit? No, they did not. And every time a conservative group or a Republican group goes down there and starts protesting, they have to have permits. They have to do all this stuff that the liberals never seem to have to do. And and conservatives are not supposed to block roads unless they get a permit to block the road or shut off the road, and only for a certain period of time. Liberals can just show up whenever they want to and block roads to keep the president from going to Congress, you know, blocking official duties and stuff like that. But, you know, apparently they're allowed to do that. So they did that, and that's the reason why Biden was late to the Capitol building, because they had to go around, and the Secret Service was very, very concerned about potentially them attacking him, because everyone was wearing these shirts saying Biden's legacy is genocide. You know, so you can see how that might make people a little bit violent, potentially, because they believe that this guy is actually committing genocide. So therefore, you know, what means and what violence is not justified if somebody is committing genocide, right? But apparently they didn't even find glue to be sufficiently worthwhile, so they didn't glue themselves to anything. They didn't do anything else like that. They just sat down, chanted, and waved signs and stuff like that. But because, you know, they don't actually believe these principles. They don't actually believe any of this stuff. They just mostly just want to cause chaos, and the party of chaos definitely was all on board with that. So I don't know if they were happy enough with how angry, you know, Dark Biden was at his speech last night, but that's kind of what we had going on. That is a bunch of the stuff that was going on in the background. Let me know if any of those things were new revelations to you that you hadn't heard before. Pop your opinions and comments down in the... Perhaps you thought it was the greatest speech you've ever heard. I don't know. Haven't heard anyone say that yet, but what I have heard is potentially the worst State of the Union speech anyone has ever heard. But we'll leave it up to you guys. Let us know down in the comments down below. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.